You've spent 40 years dreaming about it. But now that you actually have the time and the money in the bank, why does it feel so hard to book the ticket? Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever found yourself scrolling through photos of a beautiful beach or a mountain village, feeling that little spark of excitement, only to close the laptop the second you saw the price? And then you told yourself maybe next year. Or worse, you felt a knot in your stomach just for wanting to go. If that feeling sounds familiar, if you are retired or getting ready to retire, and you feel guilty just thinking about spending money on yourself, stay with me for the next few minutes, because today, we are going to uncover the hidden reason why so many retirees feel anxious about travel. And more importantly, I am going to show you exactly how to turn that guilt into peace of mind. Let's be honest with each other. You didn't get to retirement by accident. You worked hard. You sacrificed. You clipped coupons. You drove the old car for an extra 5 years. You said no to 1,000 little things so you could say yes to security. And now, the math says you can afford a trip. Your financial advisor might even tell you to spend more. But logic doesn't seem to matter, does it? Because late at night, when the house is quiet, the worry creeps in. You start thinking about healthcare costs down the road. You wonder if the stock market will drop tomorrow. You worry about taxes taking a bigger bite. And if you are really honest, you worry about being a burden. If I spend $5,000 on a cruise today, will my daughter have to help me pay for a wheelchair tomorrow? That thought, right there, is the thief of your retirement joy. And it is far more common than you think. So, why do so many retirees feel this specific guilt about travel? Why don't they feel as guilty buying a new furnace or paying for a root canal? It's because travel feels optional. It feels like a luxury. And for people like you, people who spent a lifetime being responsible, a luxury feels dangerous. I want to tell you about a couple I worked with recently. Let's call them Tom and Elaine. Tom is 71. Elaine is 68. They have a paid-off house, about $600,000 in retirement savings, and they both get Social Security. On paper, they are perfectly fine. But every year for the past 6 years, they have cancelled their anniversary trip. The first year, it was because they needed a new roof. The second year, it was because Elaine's blood pressure medication went up in price. The third year, there wasn't really a reason. Tom just said, "We should wait until we feel more secure." And here is the part that breaks my heart. Last year, Tom had a minor heart scare, nothing serious, but it shook them both. And when I asked Elaine if she regretted cancelling those trips, she didn't even answer. She just started crying, because she realised they weren't saving money to protect their future. They were saving money for a future that might never come. Now, I am not telling you this story to make you sad. I am telling you this because Tom and Elaine suffer from what I call the longevity fear. It is the number one reason retirees feel broke when they aren't. Here is how it works inside your brain. You look at your savings account. Let's say you have $300,000, but in your head, you don't see 300,000. Your brain automatically subtracts, well, I might need 20,000 for a new car in 5 years, and maybe 30,000 for home repairs. And what if I need a hearing aid or a knee replacement? And what if I live to 95? By the time your fear is done calculating, you have talked yourself into believing you are broke. So you tighten the belt, you stay home, you say no to the trip. And here is the part most retirees don't realize. By doing that, you are actually increasing your risk of becoming a burden. Let me explain. Most people think travel is just fun, but for people over 65, travel is actually preventative medicine. Think about it. When you travel, you walk more. You climb stairs, you carry luggage, you explore new cities. That is physical therapy that doesn't feel like physical therapy. When you travel, you meet new people. You have new conversations. You challenge your brain with new maps, new languages, new foods. That is cognitive therapy. And when you travel, you sleep better. You laugh more. You feel a sense of wonder again. That is emotional medicine. Studies show that retirees who travel regularly have lower rates of depression, lower rates of heart disease, and actually live longer, healthier lives. And here is the financial truth no one tells you. The money you spend on a trip to Italy might save you $50,000 in nursing home costs 10 years from now. Because a healthy retiree is an independent retiree, and an independent retiree is never a burden. So when you feel guilty about buying a plane ticket, ask yourself this: are you wasting money? Or are you investing in the only thing that actually keeps you out of a nursing home, your health? Let's talk about the other elephant in the room: your children, or your grandchildren, because I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, if I spend this money on myself, that is less money I can leave behind. And that thought, that specific thought, keeps more retirees trapped in their living rooms than anything else. But here is where you need to be very careful, because there is a difference between leaving a legacy and stealing your own joy for no reason. Let me ask you a hard question. Did you raise your children to be happy, or did you raise them to wait for your check? I have never, not once, met an adult child who said, I really wish mom and dad had stayed home for 20 years so I could have a slightly bigger inheritance check. Never. But I have met thousands of adult children who said, I wish my parents had taken the trip. I wish they had used the money while they could still walk. Here is the truth about legacy. The greatest gift you can give your children is not a bank account balance when you die. It is a mom and a dad who lived a happy, healthy, purposeful life. It is photos of you laughing on a beach. It is memories of you sending postcards from national parks. It is knowing that you enjoyed the life you built. Because if you spend 20 years sitting on the couch, afraid to spend $1, and then you leave them $300,000, do you really think they will be happy? Or will they just be sad that you never let yourself live? I want to talk about a mental exercise that changed my own family's retirement. Most retirees operate on a fear called the what if. What if the market crashes? What if I get sick? What if I run out? And those are valid questions. But here is the mistake. You are only asking one side of the what if. You are asking, what if I spend and fail? But you are not asking, what if I save and miss out? Let me put numbers on it. Let's say you are 70 years old, reasonably healthy. Statistically, you have about 15 really good, active, healthy years left. That is 15 summers, 15 autumns. If you take one nice trip a year, that is only 15 trips. Now, be honest with yourself. When you look back from your 85th birthday, which regret will hurt more? I wish I hadn't spent that $5,000 on Paris. Or, I wish I had seen Paris when my knees still worked. The answer is obvious, but fear keeps us from admitting it. So here is my challenge to you today. Flip the script. Stop asking, can I afford to take this trip? Start asking, can I afford not to take this trip? But it is the highest price you will ever pay. Okay, let's get practical. You are feeling guilty. You are feeling anxious. You are not booking the trip. What is the actual habit causing this? I call it the scarcity scroll. Every morning, you check your bank account. Then you check the news. Then you read an article about inflation, or healthcare costs, or a market dip. You are already in a scarcity mindset. Your brain is flooded with cortisol. You feel poor. You feel vulnerable. And then you make financial decisions from that fearful state. You say no to the lunch out. You say no to the weekend getaway. You say no to the cruise. And here is the cruel irony. By saying no to small joys, you never build the emotional muscle for big joys. You stay stuck in a loop of fear. So how do you break it? Here is a simple rule I teach every retiree who comes to me with this guilt. It is called the permission ledger. Step 1. Separate your money into 3 distinct mental buckets. Bucket 1 is your safety bucket. This is your emergency fund, your healthcare buffer, your absolute necessities. This money does not get touched for fun. Bucket 2 is your growth bucket. Investments, annuities, long-term holdings. You don't look at this daily. Bucket 3 is your joy bucket. This is money specifically set aside for experiences, travel, hobbies, restaurants, gifts. Here is the rule. You do not feel guilty spending your joy bucket, because that is literally what it is for. If you cannot afford a joy bucket, then you actually cannot afford to travel, and that is fine. That is honest. But for most of you watching, you can afford a joy bucket. You just haven't given yourself permission to create one. Step 2. Automate your guilt away. Set up a separate savings account, just a small one. Have $50 a week or $200 a month automatically deposited. Call it the Adventure Fund. And here is the psychological trick. Because the money goes in automatically, and because it is separate from your main account, your brain stops seeing it as retirement money. It becomes travel money. And for some reason, because it respects how your anxious brain actually operates. Step 3. Start small. Very small. You do not need to book a 2-month European river cruise tomorrow. That is too much pressure. Instead, book a weekend at a bed and breakfast 2 hours away. Take a train to a city you have never seen. Go on a 3-day road trip. Why? Because you need to teach your nervous system that spending money on joy does not lead to disaster. Once you take 3 small trips and realize, hey, I didn't go broke, my bills are still paid, the world didn't end, your brain will slowly, gently release the guilt, and then, next year, you will book the big trip without the knot in your stomach. I want to leave you with a different way to think about money. Most retirees look at their savings and think, this is the pile I need to survive on, until I die. That perspective makes you a hoarder, and hoarders are never happy. Instead, I want you to think of your retirement savings as time tickets. Every dollar you saved represents an hour of your life that you worked. You already paid for that hour. The work is done now. You get to cash in those time tickets for experiences. When you spend money on travel, you are not losing money. You are cashing in a time ticket for a memory. And here is the beautiful truth. No one has ever laid on their deathbed and wished they had hoarded more time tickets. They wish they had cashed more of them in. So today, right now, I want you to give yourself permission. Permission to book the trip. Permission to take your spouse to dinner. Permission to buy the ticket. Not because you are being reckless, but because you have earned the right to enjoy what you built. You spent 40 years protecting everyone else. It is time to protect your own joy. If this video hit home for you today, if you felt that knot in your stomach loosen just a little bit, do me a favor. Click the like button. It tells YouTube that retirees like you need to hear this message. Subscribe to Everyday Retirement Money so you never miss another video that helps you turn anxiety into peace of mind. And down in the comments, I want you to type just 3 words. I'm taking action. Not tomorrow, today. Type it. Say it out loud. Make it real. Because the only thing standing between you and that trip is permission, and I just gave it to you. Now go book the flight.